So now we're on to objective 4, which is looking at the treatment of upstream, downstream, and midstream costs in manufacturing, service, and merchandising companies. So we've got 3 types of costs. We've got your midstream costs. These are your costs that are incurred during the process of making the product. So this is during production. You've got your upstream costs. These are prior to production or before production. And then you've got your downstream costs. And these are costs incurred after production. So as an example for what these types of costs could be, think about a car. When we're dealing with a car, you've got upstream costs of research and development and product design. What's it going to be like? Who wants it? Who's going to buy it? Your midstream costs are then those product costs we talked about, your direct materials, your direct labor, and those manufacturing overhead costs. And then you've got your downstream costs. This would be like your marketing, any type of campaign you're going to do to sell it, your distribution costs, how are you going to get it like a car, how are you going to get it from one place to another, and then the customer service costs as well. So then there's 3 different types of companies. We've got manufacturing is what we've been talking about, but there's also service companies and merchandising companies. Obviously, service companies, we're looking at companies like, it could be fast food restaurants, it could be salon, so somebody's going to cut your hair, it could be a doctor. They still have upstream, midstream, and downstream costs. Your upstream, you still have, let's take a bakery, you still have research and development. You might be looking for new recipes. You might be trying to find a new location, something like that. You've got your midstream costs. You've got your overhead costs of what it takes to make the food. You have the actual raw food products. So if you're a bakery, you might have flour and butter and all of those ingredients that you need. And then you've got your downstream costs. So this could be, your janitor salaries or the cost for the space for the customers to actually consume their food in. The biggest difference between manufacturing entities and service companies is that when you're dealing with a service company, the finished product provided by the company is consumed immediately. So if you get your haircut, you're getting your haircut right then and there. You're not going to be able to put it in storage for months or days or any time. And then when we're looking at merchandising companies, they again still have those upstream, midstream, and downstream costs. Again, they don't actually hold, they hold inventory, but they don't actually make the products that they sell. So that's the biggest difference. So you could think about this as a Home Depot or Best Buy. We know County Fair would be one. They still do have those costs though. You've got your still have research and development because you're always thinking about how can we get products to sell better. And then the costs they treat as their selling and administrative expenses, they look at those instead of inventory accounts. So typically we look at merchandising companies as more service companies instead of separate business categories, a separate business category. So we just kind of look at, if you remember nothing else, merchandising companies just don't make their own products, but they still have those same costs going into play.